I was with Nick the last time he ran for office, and I ran as a Democrat because coming into this community where you see all of the leaders, all of the appointed leadership, they're all representing the Democratic Party. So I thought, well, in order to support my community, I have to run with this Democratic Party so that they can see the value in leadership coming from the community and being a part of the solution to our issues. But our Democratic leadership did not want anything to do with our community when it came to us using our voices to change our circumstance. They did not want to hear it. Because whatever they're doing as our appointed leaders, or whoever we decide to elect, based on the amount of money they have to run the election, they're filtered, they're vetted, they're soft, they're friendly, they're digestible. The truth isn't. What we've learned in the last year is that it doesn't matter. We matter, period. And you know what? Whatever their truth is, they can have that. But we know that we have power. We know that our power comes because we have an intersectionality within the Black Lives Movement that pointed the interest of the socialist movement. And they said, oh wow, Leninism, Marxism, all of this shit that we know from all these degrees and centuries of revolutionary fighting, that's what's happening on the front line right now. And we know about that. Us on the front line, we didn't know shit about Leninism, Marxism, socialism, none of that. All we knew about was racism and the value of economics, and that we didn't have none. But when they started introducing what they're fighting for and what their knowledge was, that empowered us as well. Most of the movement that I know about across this country is supported by the Socialist Party. That's called covering. So, if we want to win an election, if we want to represent our Pacific Northwest, and we want the leaders to come from the communities, then guess what? You got to stop being afraid of challenging systems that exist. We can't change the parties that we feel more comfortable with. We have to challenge ourselves to uplift the people that are not making people comfortable. When we do that, guess what? The truth comes out. Shit starts happening. People start changing things. They don't sit around and analyze shit. They don't research stuff. They don't exploit communities. They don't kill children to find out why they died later. They don't tell you that they're not going to stop the violence because it's not going to stop right now, and so you just have to deal with it. They say, oh, let's stop that shit now. Let's shut shit down. Let's shut shit down. So in this state right here, regardless of what we got going on, we're going to elect our own leaders in the Pacific Northwest. And I just want to say, like, this room should be packed. It should be packed. It should be packed. We run our own media. Why isn't there any media here? Outside of the people that are listening to us, because they're trying to control our voices. They think that if they shut us out, then we can't shut shit down. Guess what? We control our own media. All of y'all, take this challenge right now. Pull out your phones, tag where you're at, say vote for her right now, donate right here. Put the link on the website. Do whatever you have to do. Challenge the opportunity to take people where you want them to go. Tag everybody you know. I go on Facebook right now. If you take a picture of Shauna, that you can tag at least 90 people. And you can tag those people and you can add the link to her donation site right now. And tell them to put money in it. $10, 15 now. We want 15 now. 15 now! 15 now! And I want to say thank you, Shauna, for putting that bill together. Thank you for using your intellect to create the language that changed legislation. But guess what? Since you did that for us, what are we going to do for her? We're going to get her elected so she can do more. And we're going to change it across this country. That's our challenge. We control the media. If they don't show up, we show out. Show out. Do not let this be an empty room. Make sure that everybody in the state of Oregon knows that she was here today and challenge at least the 28,000 that showed up for Bonnie to donate $10 right now to her. 28,000 times 10, what's that? Put it in her election.
Our final speaker of the evening is Sawant. In the year and a half since Shauna has served on Seattle City Council, she has led the opposition to the corporate agenda in the Pacific Northwest. She was arrested marching with CTAP workers who recently won a $15 minimum wage and homeowners resisting foreclosure. She risked arrest supporting environmentalists, blocking coal trains, as well as the Shell oil rig. Unlike the vast majority of elected officials, Shama Sawant's re-election campaign does not accept corporate cash. And while the rest of the city council in Seattle pays themselves $120,000 a year, Shama accepts only the average worker's wage and donates 2/3 of her salary to social justice movements. Shama's opponents say she's just one vote and she can't get things done. Yet this completely ignores her accomplishments with unanimous city council votes, including not only the historic $15 minimum wage, but also the resolution against the TPP free trade agreement, the replacement of Columbus Day with Indigenous Peoples Day, and millions in new city funding for city workers' wages, the homeless, and a women's shelter. Additionally, she has been a true fighter for the LGBTQ community. Last winter, in response to a spike in anti-LGBTQ violence in Capitol Hill, Shama held a public meeting to discuss community-based solutions, giving a platform to the most vulnerable members of the Capitol Hill community, namely houseless, transgender, and gender non-conforming people. In this past week, Shama has stood in support of striking public school teachers in Seattle. Just recently, she organized a community forum at City Hall alongside the Coalition for Schools Seattle Deserves. Taking all this into consideration, it's apparent that in her short time in office, Shama has accomplished more than most council members do in their entire careers. Now, some of you might be asking, so what does all of this mean to Portland? How does it translate to our lives here? Although there are certainly differences between Portland and Seattle, in many ways, the issues that workers are fighting for in Seattle are no different than the issues we are fighting for here in Portland. Just this week, the Portland Mercury published a feature article entitled, "A Summer of Evictions. Portland Renters Are in a State of Emergency." The article included a quote from a recent news release by the local housing group Community Alliance of Tenants. It read, quote, "Through no fault of their own, huge numbers of renters are facing unsustainable rent increases or are simply being evicted. More and more of us are losing our housing security. Renters are experiencing mental and physical health impacts, disruption of children's stability and education, loss of access to transportation, training, and jobs, and a lost sense of community and belonging." This is the very same thing that Shama is fighting for when she calls for rent control in Seattle. Like Portland, Seattle is experiencing a housing crisis. And like Portland, large numbers of working people, the people who literally make the city run, are being displaced in record numbers. And like Oregon, Washington has made rent control illegal. Now, these victories that we speak of do not happen in a vacuum. A victory for rent control and tenant protections in Seattle will energize working people here in Portland, no different than it did with the fight for 15. If our re-election campaign wins, we will prove that it's completely possible to elect candidates who reject corporate cash and run independent of the two major corporate parties. We will also add further pressure to the politicians, labor leaders, civil rights organizations, and environmental leaders to fight harder for working class communities. This year, no other campaign more dramatically represents the struggle between the richest 1% and the 99% than Shama Sawant's campaign. There is no doubt that Shama's tenure on City Council has provided hope to ordinary workers and oppressed groups and inspired movements across the country, including here in Portland. When speaking to the problem of affordable housing and gentrification, Shama has said, "People understand that the market is not working for them. The market is making them homeless. The starting steps are for the labor movement to build, to run its own candidates, like Socialist Alternative ran its candidate on an unambiguously pro-working class platform as a defiant rejection of the two-party big business establishment. Please help me welcome the most dangerous woman in America, Sawant.
Sisters and brothers, thank you for having us here. It's much appreciated. And I wanted to especially thank Socialist Alternative and 15 Now Portland, who have put all the organizing into today's event. I also wanted to thank all the speakers who came before me for giving us an inspiring account of what's happening in Portland. And I really agree with Teresa. This place should be full, it should be packed, it should be spilling with people. But it's also a lesson to us because it represents the empty seats here, represent all the organizing that we collectively need to do. Because as Melissa was saying, vast amounts of renters in Portland are very clear the market is not working with them, and that that every day that goes by, they're on the brink of financial collapse. They don't need you to explain that conditions are bad. What they need is from us a message of how to organize. How can we turn housing injustice that is experienced in a very individualized form, how can we turn that into an organized fight back against the system?